Hey, welcome to the very first lesson of a brand new year. I hope you had a wonderful holiday season and you were able to slow down and enjoy some time with friends and family. And to get this year started off right, today we are talking about 23 healthy learning habits for you to implement in 2023. So let's get started. First of all, set some learning goals for yourself or revisit goals that you may have forgotten about. If you have never written goals for your English, the beginning of the year is a fantastic time to do that. Having clear learning goals will help you to stay motivated, keep you on track, keep you organized, and help you to see how you are progressing. So now is the time to either revisit those goals that you wrote a long time ago and forgot about, or to write yourself some goals if you haven't. Second, you need to make time for English or set a schedule for yourself that is manageable. And this can be as simple as setting aside time in the day when you are most relaxed, most alert, and most focused, when you don't have distractions around you. So this is gonna look a little different for everyone. Some people are more productive and more alert in the morning, some people in the afternoon, some people in the evening, but it is important to set aside time in your schedule, in your routine for English. You can also set manageable time limits for yourself to make sure that you're able to focus. So that might be 30 minutes, that might be 1 hour, 2 hours. Again, this is gonna look a little bit different for everyone. The key here is just to make sure that you are intentionally setting aside time to practice, to review, and to study, and that you are creating a schedule that you can actually stick to. The third healthy habit is to be consistent. Now, I've said it before and I will say it again, consistency is the key to success in absolutely every area of life, including your English language communication. So do not start and stop with your English. Make sure you are consistent. Now, it's not naturally easy for everyone to be consistent with everything in their life. So having a schedule will really help you if you are someone who struggles with consistency. Next, make English a part of your daily life. So basically, do things that you already do. Just do those things in English. So for example, if you look up recipes online, just look them up in English. If you spend time scrolling through social media, just translate the posts to English or change your settings to English. If you look for tutorials or instructions or watch documentaries already, just do all of these things in English. Doing things that you already do in English is a really easy way to just expose yourself to the language as much as possible without actually changing anything in your routine. Next, try something new. Do not be afraid to try new approaches, new techniques, new methods, new materials when it comes to learning English. You might be used to one way of studying or one methodology or one teacher or whatever the case may be, and that might be comfortable and familiar to you. And maybe that works well for you, which is great. However, it is always nice to try something new because it will push you outside of your comfort zone and give you a chance to challenge your mind to think in a new way or in a different way. You might also get to practice some new skills that you might currently be overlooking with the method that you are using. So try something new. And again, a new year is the perfect time for that. Next, find methods and approaches that work for you. There are lots of different ways that you can learn a language. You can study on your own, you can study online, in person, one-to-one with a teacher, you can join a group. You have lots and lots of different options nowadays. But not every option is equally as effective for every person. We all have different learning styles and things that work better for us and things that don't work as well for us. So it's important for you to be aware of your learning style, and I have made a lesson on discovering your learning style. I'll link that one down below for you. And it's very important for you to be self-aware, to pay attention to when you are learning, how you are learning, when you feel like you are actually making progress, and when you feel like you are not. Now, being self-aware is not the easiest thing. It doesn't come naturally to everyone, but you can learn to become more self-aware. You just have to think critically, think logically, be a little bit analytical about your learning. So really think about your progress. Pay attention to when you are doing well, when you are not doing well, when you feel motivated, when you don't feel motivated, when you're enjoying the process of learning, and when you're not. And these things will help you to kind of look at the situation and say, okay, this is working for me, this is not working for me. And when it's not working, try a new method and find one that works for you. Next, you want to use English from the real world, real English. Now, English study materials like textbooks and lessons are great. They are there for a reason. They exist for a reason, of course. However, when you are practicing on your own, it's always best to use authentic English materials, all right? Now, these are things like interviews, podcasts, articles, basically English as it is used out in the real world, not designed specifically for learning the language. This is going to give you the most authentic type of practice and really prepare you for when you are out in the real world communicating with people. Sometimes when you stick to only study material or textbooks or this type of content, it can give you an inaccurate idea of what English actually sounds like. So maybe you listen to a recording from a textbook and you say, wow, I understand everything. And then you go out into the real world and you try to have a conversation and you feel like, okay, I understand nothing, or I understand very little of this conversation. You get frustrated and you don't know what's wrong. That is because the English you were using to practice was not authentic and was not the most realistic. So when you practice with a standard of English that is unrealistic, it really creates challenges for you when you transition out into the real world. So whenever possible, use authentic materials and authentic resources to practice listening and reading and using English. Next, make small but manageable changes. Now, you might feel like it's difficult for you to practice your English, or it's not improving, or you don't have time, or whatever the case. And if this sounds like you, then what you need to do is make small but manageable and realistic changes. So for example, imagine that you right now feel like, okay, I'm so busy, I want to practice my English more, but I just don't have time, and whatever the case is. What you can do is make a small change, like set aside time to read one article in English per week. Just one, okay? And by the end of the year, you would have read 52 articles in English as opposed to 0 because you say that you're too busy, all right? And you need to find practical ways to make sure that this fits into your schedule. It could be on your commute to work. You could read during your lunch break at work. You could read while you're having breakfast, whatever the case may be. This is just one example. Another example is simply changing the settings on your electronics, like your phone, your tablet, your laptop, your computer, to English. Of course, you're not going to become 100% fluent by making this one little change. However, if you make lots of small but manageable changes, this will help you to make progress. And that's really the key here. So just keep in mind that one little change is not going to magically make your English perfect, but lots of small little changes really add up to progress over time. Next, this one is really important. You want to surround yourself with the right people that will impact your English learning journey positively. Now, this can be anyone from your friends, your family members, your teachers, your classmates, the language groups that you participate in. What you want to look for is people who inspire, who motivate, and who teach you new things, all right? If you're around people who confuse you, who make you feel bad about your English, who make you feel like you're not making progress, or English is too hard, or who take away your motivation or drag you down, these are not the right people, okay? Remember that as an adult, you can choose who you spend your time around in pretty much every aspect of your life. And your English journey is no different. So make sure that you are consciously spending time listening to, communicating with, learning with people who are actually helping you. Next, subscribe to English channels and follow English pages. So subscribe to English channels like this one. Make sure you subscribe to this channel if you have not already. But I don't only mean channels specifically for English education or for learning English. Just subscribe to any channels about topics that you like, but in English. So for example, if you enjoy cooking, subscribe to cooking channels in English. If you like travel, you follow a lot of travel bloggers, subscribe to channels where the bloggers speak in English, okay? If you watch makeup tutorials, watch them in English. And again, this little change is going to help you to expose yourself to English as much as possible. So it's just about things that you already read, content that you already consume, things that you already spend time watching, but you're doing that in English. So again, not just English educational channels. Of course, those are fantastic. So make sure you subscribe to those as well. But find channels that talk about topics that you're interested in, topics that you need for work, and so on, just in English. The next one is very, very important. You must practice. Do not underestimate the importance and the power of practice. This is actually a common mistake that a lot of English learners make, is that they don't spend enough time or any time practicing or reviewing what they have actually learned. So you might put a lot of effort and time into learning and studying new concepts, but if you never review them and if you never practice them, you will forget them, all right? So just make sure that you make it a point to always go back, review and practice the new concepts and the new things that you have learned. That is a very, very important part of the learning process, so don't forget to practice. Another very healthy habit is to focus on communication. Always focus on communication over perfection. It's okay if you make a few mistakes here and there. It is more important that your message is clearly understood by the other person or by your audience or whoever is listening to you. I know that it's not nice to make mistakes. No one likes making mistakes, including me. However, it is 9 times out of 10, it's more important that your message is delivered and your message comes across. So try to reframe your way of thinking and learn to focus more on communication than on perfection and having the perfect grammatical structure and every single word right. Generally speaking, communication is more important. Next, be realistic. Be realistic with your current level of English and your goals, where you would like to go. Be realistic with your time. Be realistic with your progress. Just be realistic with yourself. You also need to be patient with yourself. And a big part of being realistic means that you hold yourself accountable or responsible for your English learning journey. So if you say that you are going to do something like join a class or do your homework or study for 30 minutes or 45 minutes a day, you need to make sure that you are doing that, or you can get help from someone else to make sure that you're doing that. And that could be a friend, a family member, or better yet, a teacher. All right, so be realistic with yourself and learn to hold yourself accountable for the things that you are trying to accomplish. Next, talk to people. Talk to as many people as you can, as often as you can, about as many different topics as you can. Now, you might not have the opportunity every single day to talk to someone face to face or to talk to a new person. That's understandable. As I said, we do have to be realistic, but you can also chat with people online. You can speak with people online. If you live in a non-English speaking country or you don't have a lot of people around you, there are other options, all right? So every time you have the opportunity or the chance comes up to talk to someone new about something new, take advantage of that opportunity. Go out there and talk to people. Next, do not apologize for your English. If you are making the effort to speak a language that is not your own, this is something you should feel proud of. This is something that you should feel good about. It is not something that you should feel badly for. It is not something that you should be ashamed of, and it is not something you should be apologizing for. So if you're someone who tends to say, oh, sorry about my English, sorry my English is not good, sorry for my bad English, I want you to break that habit right now and just stop apologizing for your English. And instead, be proud of yourself for doing something that is out of your comfort zone, something that is challenging, something that is uncomfortable for so many people. Be proud of your English, not ashamed of it. Next, learn to recognize when something is not working. A lot of times we get stuck in the same routines, we just get stuck in a rut, and we do the same thing over and over, even if it's not working for us, or even if we're not getting the results we want, or we feel bad about it. We just keep doing it because it's all we know. And for a lot of us, when it comes to learning, we just continue to learn or to study in the same way that we always have, simply because that is all we know. We've never tried anything else. And we don't really think about like, okay, is this working? Is this getting me the results I want? You just kind of think, okay, well, I'm studying, so I must be learning, and that's that. However, it is important to recognize that there are different ways of doing things, and there are different ways of learning that are more effective than others, right? Depending on you as an individual. So it's very important that you take a step back sometimes if you feel frustrated and really look at what you're doing and see if it's working for you or not. A very important part of the learning process is the ability to recognize when something is not actually working and then take some steps to change it. Next, exercise different skills. Remember that any language, including English, is made up of different skills. So of course you have listening, reading, writing, speaking, communication, pronunciation, grammar, and so on and so on and so on. If you want to improve your overall English in a comprehensive way, it's important to exercise all different areas of the language and all different types of skills. Now, you might be stronger in some areas than others, and that's okay. You don't have to spend as much time on those areas. So for example, let's say that you are fantastic when it comes to listening. You feel really confident, your listening skills are very strong, but when it comes to speaking, there is some room for improvement. That's totally fine. Just make sure that you are making it a point of working on your speaking skills maybe a little bit more than you are on your listening skills, okay? So again, this is gonna look different for everyone, but first of all, just be aware that any language is made up of these different skills or different parts, and to improve overall, you cannot neglect parts of the language. So practice different skills. Next, learn how to maximize your time. Let's say that you only have 30 minutes a day to read something in English. Let's say you read an article for 30 minutes and you discover 20 new words, all right? It's gonna be hard, pretty much impossible to learn these 20 new words and read the article in 30 minutes. So what you need to do is maximize that time, get the most out of it. So I would recommend getting the overall meaning of the article. That way in 30 minutes, you've finished an article, you've understood it, and maybe you can learn a few new words or phrases that you can use immediately in your daily life, okay? So that way, when you look at your progress at the end of the 30 minutes, you can look at it like this. All right, I've spent 30 minutes and I have accomplished the following. Finished an article, understood it, and learned some new words, right? Instead, if you try to learn all 20 words in 30 minutes, you'll end up feeling defeated because you will not have accomplished anything. Instead, you most likely would have not finished the article, interrupted yourself many times to look up the meaning of every new word, not having learned the new words, and not understanding what the article was about. So of course, the more time you have, the better. But if you have a shorter amount of time that you can devote to English, just learn how to maximize that and really make that time count. Next, you need to focus on solutions, not problems. Instead of repeating in your mind or even out loud, I don't have money to learn English, I don't have time to learn English, I don't have anyone to speak to in English, I don't have motivation, I'm too shy. Repeating these negative things will just reinforce them. It won't change them, okay? So I'm not saying that these things are not problems, they are, But instead of repeating and repeating the problems and just focusing in on the problems, you need to look for solutions or start thinking about solutions or start searching online for solutions. So for instance, instead of saying to yourself, I don't have money to take a course, I don't have money to study English right now. Instead, you need to say to yourself, okay, what free resources are available? Or what options do I have within the budget that I have right now? And search online for answers. Okay, we're very lucky to have access to the internet. It helps us find solutions to almost every problem that we face when it comes to learning English, of course. Another example, let's say that you feel like you don't have time to learn English and you say, I want to study, I want to practice, but I'm just too busy. Instead of repeating, I'm too busy, I'm too busy, I'm too busy, reframe your thinking and ask yourself, okay, where in my day can I find some time to devote to English? How can I rearrange my schedule? Maybe you can use time when you are commuting. Maybe you can read something on your lunch break or when you're having your morning coffee. You can rearrange your schedule. I know that it's not always easy. I also sometimes feel like I'm too busy to do the things that I want to do or need to do. But then I pause and remind myself that we all have the same 24 hours in a day. It's just about how we manage our time. I know time management is not the easiest thing, but there are always solutions to every single challenge that you might face. So instead of really zeroing in on these challenges, all that's doing is making them bigger, okay? It's making them bigger in your mind. Instead, you can write your challenges down, start searching for solutions little by little, step by step to each one. Next, take some breaks. Now, I mentioned that you should create a schedule for yourself. It's also important to work breaks or plan breaks into your learning schedule. Naturally, we take breaks when we do anything, right? When we are in school, we have summer break, we have Christmas break, and so on. At work, we take days off. We have long weekends, we take vacation days, and so on. So when I say take breaks, I don't mean stop for long periods of time, because I did say to be consistent. However, just make sure that you plan rest days into the schedule that you create for yourself. Now, this could be that you take weekends off of practicing English or studying. It could be that when you travel or you're on a holiday, you take some time off, and that is totally okay. So keep in mind that breaks are necessary. They are necessary for you to process the information that you have learned, to rest your mind, to recharge. However, it's also important to be consistent and make sure that your breaks are scheduled so you know when your break is over. Okay, so I'm not saying just take random breaks all over the place, like, okay, today I feel like studying English, today I don't feel like studying English. Make sure that your breaks are actually planned into the schedule that you make for yourself. Next, expose yourself to English every single day. Now, I know that I just said to take breaks. I am not saying that you need to study every single day, but if you do something in English every single day, that will help you to be consistent. And it could be something fun. It could be something like a crossword puzzle or a word game on your phone. It could be that you watch a video online, or you read something, or you listen to music. I'm just saying to expose yourself to the language, not to sit down and study for the next 365 days nonstop. It's okay to take breaks, but the more that you expose yourself to the language, the better. So make a little bit of time every single day to do something that you actually enjoy in English. Now, this one is very important for all areas of life, not just English. Learn to enjoy the process. A lot of times we are very focused on the outcome, the results. We want to become fluent, we want to speak perfectly, and we're just so zeroed in and focused in on this end result, this end goal, that we forget to enjoy the process of what we're doing. So it's really important that you enjoy the process itself of learning English. If you don't enjoy the process of something, you will stop. You will hate it, you will resent it, it will become an obligation for you. So learn how to enjoy the process of what you are doing. Study with teachers that you like, study with people that you like, practice with people that you like. Make the process itself a pleasure rather than a pain. And finally, a very important habit to develop is to celebrate your success, to celebrate your accomplishments, to celebrate your progress, the hard work that you are putting in towards reaching your goals. Now, I know that this doesn't come naturally to everyone. A lot of people are humble. A lot of people do not naturally feel super proud of small things that they do, or they downplay their accomplishments. They feel like it's not really a big deal. And I myself have been one of these people. I have not always known how to feel proud of my accomplishments, how to express those feelings, but it is something that I have learned as a teacher, and I understand the importance of it for English learners. This is actually a very big part of the learning process as well. So think back to when you were learning, when you were a child in school. Your teachers and your parents praised you for getting good grades, doing well on a test, doing well on an assignment. And that motivated you. It made you feel good about yourself. It made you feel capable. It made you feel smart. It made you feel like you could do things, right? And sometimes as adults, we're kind of missing this element of the learning process. And sometimes it is up to you to celebrate your accomplishments, to celebrate your successes, even if they are small. So for example, let's say that you attend a job interview in English and you don't get the job and you didn't do great. You can still celebrate the fact that you attended a job interview in English. That is a big deal, and it's something to be proud of, all right? The first time you attend a social event and you're able to talk to people in English, that is something to be proud of. So you don't need to only be proud if you pass an exam or if you get a job or big life events. Learn to be proud of accomplishments that are small. They are still equally as important, okay? And this will really help you to stay on track, to keep yourself motivated. And as I said, I know it doesn't come naturally to every individual. It's not a part of every culture. It's not a part of everyone's mentality. But if you take one thing away from today's video, I want you to take this. I want you to try to learn to be proud of the challenging things that you do. So there you have 23 healthy habits for 2023. Please let me know which ones you will be implementing right away. If you have any others, please share them with us down below in the comments. Don't forget to grab your free ebook, English Conversations Made Simple. I will link that down below for you as well. Thank you so much for watching, for learning, and for spending time with me today. And I look forward to seeing you very soon in another lesson.